Winfrey and had her picture and had at Oprah Winfrey on there, or at Oprah on there, was basically asking people to send in some information and they will receive $5,000. Well, the person who reposted the post was making a comment saying that anybody who answered that post must be stupid and that it didn't make any sense. So Miko Grimes she replied to the post saying, that's why, and actually I'll just put it on the screen so I can get it right, what she said. I agree. People always ask me why I don't like Oprah. This is one of the examples. She also doesn't speak for us. Okay, so here's the thing. There was an article written about this exchange where she says she doesn't like Oprah and that Oprah doesn't speak for us. And they were really kind of poking at Miko because she kind of got the context of the tweet wrong. And it seems like she thought the tweet was from Oprah. But at any rate, I want to examine her comments. She says she doesn't like Oprah because Oprah doesn't speak for us. And, you know, first, before I go any further, let me just say, I think Oprah is nice. She's kind. She's all of that. Look, Oprah, she's articulate. She's rich. She's beautiful. She's inspirational. And I know when we talk about analyzing and thinking about our celebrities and how they value our community and what do they mean to our community, it's a very touchy spot. You know, for Black people, these celebrities, we engage so deep that it's like they're our family. You know, matter of fact, they're like more than our family because we'll cut our family, but we will ride hard for some celebrities. And, you know, I'm just not one of those people who are into celebrity like that, but I will admit that I used to be infatuated with Oprah Winfrey, like I'm sure so many people are or were. And, you know, I wanted to go on her show, and I really did love Oprah Winfrey until I started realizing more and being less confused about this system of racism, white supremacy that we're subjected to. And I just started to see her as a Hattie McDaniel type character of our generation. That's like the Mammy character that was in Gone with the Wind. It's like if you play into the stereotypes of Black people, like the Mammy character, you know, like a fat plantation lady that soothes the white people and has pity on their so-called plight. And then you get to be famous and rich and win an Academy Award, but you can't speak up for your people or yourself. And I love, you know, Paul Mooney did a skit about Oprah, which is so hilarious and kind of points to, I think, some things that's someone like Miko would have been thinking in a comment like that. So I'm not trying to condemn Oprah Winfrey. I know that many people are infatuated and in love with Oprah, and you know, it's hard not to be. She's beautiful, like I said. She's very encouraging and inspirational. But so I'm not condemning her, but I find myself asking a lot of questions about Oprah and celebrities like them. You know, some people just consider them to be like the Black bourgeoisie, similar to a Rollin Martin type character, you know, very, you know, middle of the road in a sense. So when you think about Oprah Winfrey and all the researching and the reading she does and how smart she, you know, people proclaim that she is, I would think that she would have more to say about the system of global racism, white supremacy. But maybe, you know, I get it. You know, you can't offend your audience. Like when I go to work, I don't just sit there and talk about racism, white supremacy. So maybe that was her perspective. Maybe she could not rock the boat or, you know, offend her base or whatever, especially early on. But as the Oprah Winfrey Show got to 25 years and she got her own network, I would have thought she would have some room. And I'll go into some more detail about this, but these were just some of the questions that I ponder about people like Oprah Winfrey, if not Oprah Winfrey herself. You know, I wondered, why didn't she highlight more Black people and Black issues on her show? You know, there's a lot going on in the Black community, a lot of oppression, a lot of systematic oppression, a lot of good things, even though, I mean, because I highlight things about Black technologists in the community. So I did not see her. I mean, I used to watch Oprah Winfrey show a lot. I mean, I didn't see a lot of Black people on the show unless they were like A-list celebrities. And you know, that was like this many. So I could be wrong, but that's how I saw it. And then I wonder, why did she contribute to movies that disrespect the image of Black people and promote narratives that many people in our community feel are contrived to influence our community, to influence the behavior of Black people, like pushing the portrayal of interracial sex and relationships and the emasculation of Black males in her media projects. So let me explain a little bit what I mean. So first of all, what it appears to me is that people that are like Oprah Winfrey, like your Rollin Martins, they epitomize the idea of the showcase Black. And this, as you can see, I'm reading a quote from Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation. It says, the term showcase Black, coined by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., refers to the high-profile Blacks that are constantly paraded before the public. Political dignitaries, pro athletes, entertainers, educators, business people. Their real purpose is to mask the reality of being Black in America. All right. Showcasing prominent Blacks accomplishes deceiving the Black collective about the realities of racism. It neutralizes the legitimate claims of racism by Blacks. And it just reminds me of shows that Oprah would have where it's like the Black person forgives the racist for something that they did in the past. And, you know, just a lot of hugging racists and hugging Klan members and things like that I saw on her show remind me of that statement. It says here that Black stand-ins must validate negative Black stereotypes, not show any allegiance to Blacks, or talk honestly about racism, surround him or herself with whites professionally, and not display any anger or resentment toward whites or blame them for racism. Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation. I mean, I think that some people would agree that, again, people in that they call celebrity, S-E-L-L, celebrity class, kind of fit into this mold right here. And these are some of the movies that Oprah Winfrey has done. I mean, this is Queen Sugar here, where this young lady was, I think I only made it through about 2 episodes and I saw her sleep with about 4 or 5 white men, which I'm not pointing out anything about her sleeping with white men in particular, but when the media, when you can't find a black woman and a Black man with Black children anywhere on TV, I'm talking about in commercials, no movies, no TV shows, a Black woman and a Black man that looks like they have 2 Black parents, or they look like they are for sure Black with Black children, that's nowhere. We cannot have access to that, especially if they are in a loving relationship, caring for one another. But everything you turn to has a interracial couple, and it just seems like that's a method of pushing this idea. You know, it's the life imitates art idea. So, you know, this movie with Halle Berry, so excited about marrying this white man. This was, I can't remember, I think it was in the early 90s this was done. So, you know, I just question if most Black people, to the tune of over 80%, are married to other Black people, and then you're depicting Black people on television and movies, but you never see 2 Black people together, loving each other, married to each other. You always see a Black man and a white woman, or a white woman and a Black man. That's just suspect to me. It's like there's a motive behind it. But then when it came to the movie Underground getting canceled by the WGN network, which was acquired conveniently by someone else who canceled it, she said that her billionaire self and her network could not afford to get this program, which was, you know, I thought it was, I personally don't like to watch any movies that show the torture and enslavement of Black people. I'm just done with that. Like, I call that torture porn or racist porn. I don't like to see that, but I have watched Underground Series 1 and Series 2, both at least twice, because it's so, it really brings another dimension to that story that we haven't seen. It brings the dimension of these human beings knowing that they were meant to be more than slaves, and they were determined to get free from that. And I mean, it was just inspiring. And I mean, I love the story. The acting was superb. It was amazing. But you know, Oprah Winfrey couldn't find the money apparently to get this on the own network, which if I had a network, which, okay, I don't have a network, but if I did, I would be seeking show. I would have been asking WGN, hey, look, give me the show. You know, so I just wonder why, you know, she executive produced things like Precious, and then even the story about, man, what's her name? Henrietta Lacks. I didn't like the way that was done. It was like all the Black people were crazy and money hungry, and it was just really strange the way they portrayed Black people in that movie. And that's what seems to happen with her films, in my opinion. But like, I just personally, I'm on a crusade to establish standards and let people know that we want to see images like this in our films. We want to see Black people loving each other, married to each other, excited about each other, embracing Blackness. I don't see that in any, I don't recall ever seeing that in any movie that Oprah Winfrey was a part of, you know. So again, I could be wrong, but you know, that's just the way that I see it. You know, I don't recall her. I mean, if I'm just answering the question that Miko raised, I don't recall her speaking up about Black issues. I think one time she said something about how Barack Obama is facing racism, and people jumped down her throat for that, from what I recall. She said something about Emmett Till before. I think she said the Trayvon Martin situation reminded her of Emmett Till. And I don't know what she does behind the scenes, but it's not just about Oprah Winfrey. I mean, if we're going to throw people like Omarosa under the bus, then, you know, how far do we go? Because she's selling out her community by working with white supremacists against, who obviously are against the community. But there are some people who, they kind of work with them too, but they just are not as vocal about it. So I'm just bringing up the issue that maybe we should be looking at all of the Black bourgeoisie, showcasing Blacks, not just your just real coons, but there are some other people who are soft shoe cooning, you know? And so people also argue that Oprah Winfrey helped Barack Obama get elected. And I'm just wondering, she had him on her show a couple times. I don't recall her asking him any tough questions about what was he going to do for the Black community. Because like, if there's a problem in the nation, then it seems like if you're a reporter and you are interviewing a politician, you would ask them about this problem. What are they going to do about this problem? And being a Black woman, I'm sure she understands that many of our problems are not just self-inflicted, but they have been purposely put upon us from governmental entities and other systematic institutions. So if you're going to be a politician, you should be there to solve problems, and that should be a major problem. I don't ever recall her asking anything like that. So I question, you know, I would say that it sounds like Miko might have a point. I mean, I know that Oprah Winfrey is a billionaire and that many people feel like if someone's richer than you, then they're more right than you or they're more knowledgeable than you. But I mean, I think we have to realize that riches are awarded to people who are willing to fill in these roles that are set aside for Black people. And I talked about the Mammy role, or the what they call the Sapphire role, the little sexy vixen kind of role, the Olivia Pope kind of role. And, you know, there's plenty of money if you want to play some of these roles. So let me talk about one more thing related to this. So in Trojan Horse, Death of a Dark Nation, she speaks about how there are white identified Black people. A white identified Black person is a Black person who views the world through a white perspective, even when it conflicts with their own self and group interests. So we have a list of people, and I could fill up about 50 pages probably of notable people who fit these kinds of definitions, you know. And I just wonder, I mean, it's easy to see it in somebody like a Sheriff Clark, but you know, when you look at, again, like a Rollin Martin, you know, other people who are just like really, they appear to be really middle of the road, or you know, they're double dutching in and out of Black issues. I mean, should they be on the list? So what is a Black identified individual? The Black identified individual sees the world as it really exists and does not blame Black people for being victims of racism, white supremacy. Since they are not in denial about racism, they are seldom caught completely off guard. So I don't know, Miko might have a point here. I just think what the takeaway should be in a situation like this is that we as a community, the Black collective, we need to really define what it means to really be a part of the Black community. Because Omarosa said in an interview recently that she was worried, or she has some concerns about some things that were happening in the White House that affected her and her people in her community. And there were many people saying, well, Omarosa, who are your people and who are your community? Because it's not Black people. And I think that's kind of what we should be saying to like a lot of people that should be on that list, not just Omarosa, because we can't tell if they are part of our community or not. So listen, you guys, before I get out of here, I just want to remind you to go to Nubian Essence LuxuryRetreat.com. That's Nubian Essence LuxuryRetreat.com. We have some, we've got an amazing time planned for a select group of women. So I'm going to tell you, you should put your email in and get prepared to, when the tickets are released, to get your ticket, because we have limited space and it's going to be an amazing experience. But thank you for viewing this video. And I think that these are important questions to consider in our community. You know, one more thing I want to say about Oprah, you know, Monique had a lot to say